If I look like I just rolled out of bed, that's because I did. Good morning. Welcome back to Chevy Chase Farm. I appreciate you watching. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here on the farm. We had a little rain overnight, or basically all day yesterday, and maybe more than a little, but perfect. It didn't come down too hard or too fast. As you can see, I'm up here with the pigs. Just gave them their morning breakfast. They're doing wonderful. This video isn't about pigs. It is about baby chicks. The first batch of 500 Hornets Cross chicks arrived this week, and they are really doing good as well. They're off to a great start, which is the basis for this video. I think most people that raise chickens will tell you, and particularly meat chickens, where their overall lifespan is not really all that long, that the most important part is how they do in the brooder. Getting a great start in the brooder and then putting really healthy chickens onto pasture is the key to having pretty good performance. I have 3 key steps that I do that I think really help, and once you get through the first 24, 48 hours with these steps, you're off to a great start. The first batch of 500 chicks just arrived. You can probably hear them here in the background. They're about 8 or 10 hours a little earlier than I expected, so I'm running behind a bit here. If you've never seen it, right here is what 500 baby chicks look like that come through the post office. They came from Pennsylvania and made it in about 36 hours, so that's really great. I hear a lot of noise in there, so I'm expecting they're all doing pretty good. So here's a box of 100 chicks. Just opened it. Looks like I have a dead one there. As of right now, that's the only dead one I see. Maybe one more back there. This time of year, they put them in pretty tight to keep them warm. When you start seeing them in the summer, they will be less in a box. I will take them and dip a few of their beaks into the water. You don't have to do every one because they'll teach the other ones, but I do, one in every 5 or something like that. First box is done. There were exactly 100 birds in the box, 98 alive, 2 were dead, so not bad. I'm hoping they threw a few extras in some of the other boxes. But here's what 500, I think I ended up with 509 total chicks in the mobile brooder. Of the 509, those were the alive ones. Out of that entire batch, there were only 3 dead. So I ordered 500, they sent me 512. I really appreciate the customer service. I will inevitably lose a few more over the next 24 hours or so. And then once I get through that phase, they usually take off pretty good. It's been a busy day. I'm only halfway through it. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The chicks have been in here now for about 6 hours. Here's inside the brooder. I do have the tops on. You'll notice I have all my feeders over there lined up. On that side, I have one extra one, so I put it over here, and this is where all my waterers are. I'm gonna see how this works. I may have to intersperse it, put a waterer and a feeder on either side, but it would be convenient for me to be able to water all on one side. We did a check-in on them. Probably wait till tomorrow and see how they're doing and finish the video up, but let me give you a little more info on these chickens. They are Cornish cross chicks. They are all males, so they're all going to be roosters. They are about 36 hours old or so. They were put in the mail 2 days ago, about 8 o'clock at night. So I assume they probably hatched sometime in the late afternoon. They made it here in less than 48 hours. You saw how many have made it in the mail, did really good. So my brooder, well, when we bring it out at some point, we'll see it more, but it's a mobile brooder. It's built on a hay wagon. They'll be in there for about 3 weeks, and then we will move them to pasture. A couple of things that, in my opinion, are key to getting these chicks off to a great start. And getting them off to a great start, keeping them really healthy in the brooder is going to make the big difference of how they perform on pasture. So you really want them to come out of that brooder in great shape. I only put water in there for about the first 6 to 8 hours. Let them drink. I want them to drink and hydrate rather than run into the food right away. I feel like that helps quite a bit. After 6 or so hours, I then put the feeders in. One thing that I don't do, I add nothing to the water. No probiotics, no electrolytes, no apple cider vinegar. These chicks have not been vaccinated for MERS. They won't be vaccinated. So only clean, fresh water. The other thing I really believe in is having the lights on, having your covers on, and having the temperature inside stable for when you bring the chicks in. I find the perfect brooder temperature for me is somewhere between 80 and 90 degrees. That's just the ambient temperature around. And if I'm around 80, 85 degrees, and then you have the heat lamps, which are obviously much hotter, I see the chicks, they will move in and out of the heat lamp. So they'll move under the heat lamp, get a little warmth if they need more, but they stay very well dispersed. They're eating, they're getting water, and then they're moving in and out of the heat lamp. So a brooder temperature of about 80, 85, 90 maybe when they're first come in, that's about perfect for me. And then my final tip, and the thing I really try to do is, and I do this with a lot of my animals when they're young and little, is really try to leave them alone. Let those chicks be chicks right now. The goal would be to peek in there. I'll check on them a lot. They won't necessarily know I'm checking on them. I'm making sure the lights are working. They're not overcrowded. They're not. It's not too hot. Every time you open up that brooder and every time you get in there, they get frightened, and obviously it increases their stress level, and you don't really want that. So I really, my last thing is, I try to leave them be. In summary, preheat your brooder. Give only clean, fresh water for the first 6 hours or so, and then leave them alone. I appreciate everyone watching the video, and I hope you have a great week.